Good evening, Talkies. This is your old friend, Professor Kate Rhodes, and I am transmitting to you from beautiful Porto, Portugal, out here in the Iberian Peninsula. Now, what am I doing in this exotic locale, you might ask? Well, I am conducting research about the old lesbians of Portugal. As with many academics doing research among groups they aren't a part of, I burst right in with absolutely no knowledge or connection to the subject of my inquiry. "Where are the lesbians?" I shouted as I stepped off the plane, and I have been blazing a trail to them ever since. I'm very excited to share my findings with you. Okay, so here's how my research has been going so far. First thing I did, I asked all the gay-looking people where the gays are. They don't know. Most of them not gay. I got on Gay Portuguese Twitter, which I have to say is pretty male-dominated and young. And the main thing they were talking about was that the Pride March here is on June 25th. Now, that's too late for me. I need to be getting to the gays faster than that. Deeper into my Twitter research, I found out that there was an erotic art expo happening at the convention center of the town that I'm in. It was a real trek to get out there, but I took a very heteronormative bus ride out to the convention center. And I have to say, when I got there, it turned out to be less of an erotic art expo and more of just an erotic expo. And I have to also say the eroticism was pretty straight-leaning, although very kink-centered as well. I saw a wrestling match between two women and a man where they were really going to town slapping the guy's dick. However, there were some reproductive health people there tabling, and they did try to give me some female condoms, which I couldn't believe because I don't think anyone has used a female condom since maybe 1997. So I asked them, hey, do you know where the queer spaces are? Because they had little rainbow pamphlets about coming out of the closet and all things like that. Sure enough, they stood there in front of me, whipped out their phone and started Googling, and did tell me about one gay bookstore. Now that I was hot on the trail, I went to the gay bookstore, which was supposedly the only gay bookstore in all of Portugal, and I met the cutest couple of little gay guys, which I will now refer to as the bookstore boys, and they invited me to a poetry reading. So the next night, I went to the poetry reading. God bless, it was completely in Portuguese, and the two poets who were from Brazil, I think we're talking about motherhood, and I think we're both straight, but it was a great time. I got both of their books. They signed them for me. I hugged one of them. It was a real triumph, even if it didn't help at all whatsoever with my research. That night, I went to a gay bar, which was having drag bingo hosted by a drag queen called Camel Toe. As I was sitting alone at a table there, 4 men came and sat with me, all, I'm going to say, over 50. Only one of them spoke English, though, and he was very aloof. As much as I tried to make friends with them, it was not happening. And they left after the first round of bingo because Camel Toe was making fun of them so bad. Then some younger people came and sat with me, including a woman from France. But all of the information I really got from them was that they don't know where the queer people are gathering either. And the French person French-splained to me that Celine Dion is from the French-speaking part of Canada, which of course I knew. Later on, I went to the LGBTQ plus community center in town, 2 floors up in an office building. So I knocked on the door. One of the office workers came and got me. I told her I was trying to get to the LGBTQ plus community center, and she's like, oh, right this way. And she leads me up to a tiny little room with 2 women sitting inside. And I was like, jackpot. Because one of them had a very gay haircut. I was like, hey, I'm looking for the old lesbians. They're like, oh, sure. Then they started speaking to each other in Portuguese. And I was like, here we go. I'm about to really crack open the nut of this case. Sure enough, they had no idea what to do. I'm pretty convinced they were both straight, even with the wild haircut. And the woman with the haircut said, oh, here's a map. And it was a map from a group called the Portuguese Gay Circuit. and it had things like saunas and gay bars and sex clubs and all these kinds of things. I may have to further investigate that, but I feel that it's not exactly the kind of Subaru driving, Birkenstock wearing population that I'm looking for. She also told me that I should go to a store called Tiger because it was where she got all her rainbow thermoses and mugs and pride gear and things for her kid. Another clue, I think, that she was probably a straight person. Anyhow, I went there and it was kind of like Daiso. It wasn't very gay at all, but I did get matching headband, wristband, rainbow sweatbands. Where am I at now? Well, I made these flyers to try to get people to contact me. And I have a meeting tomorrow with an older German lesbian translator who is the first old lesbian that I have made contact with. So one down, who knows how many to go. All right, Talkies, thank you very much for your consideration. And if you have any grants you'd like to give to me or any type of funding at all, please come meet me for my office hours, which are listed here. And boa sort. And ciao, ciao.